Hi everyone, welcome to From the Pole with Suthernsmoke. Obviously, I'm your girl, Suthernsmoke here. And today we are going to be discussing the F word. Not that four-letter little ditty that you express when you're upset about something, even though, disclaimer, I probably will be dropping a few F-bombs throughout this video. And some other cussing in general. So, apologies in advance. However, we are talking about fibroids and ovarian cyst, okay? So, this channel initially was supposed to be dedicated to just all things fitness because I'm an internationally certified pole fitness instructor. I'm a Pilates instructor. I'm getting my comprehensive certification, third generation, through the lineage of Joseph Pilates, and just, things like that. I'm plant-based, and so now as I'm going through my journey, I want to be more consistent on here, and to share things out, even if it's only one person watching, even if it only helps one person, they share it with somebody else, whatever it is. I just want to be completely transparent about stuff that's going on. Because I know other people are out here dealing with stuff too, and we just don't talk about it, especially when it comes to health. So I'm going to share because this is all very new. And so I'm just going to address all things health and wellness, whether it's fitness, nutrition, hair, whatever it is. It'll just be easier to do it all from one channel versus having multiple, because I did have a separate channel, natural since birth, which was dedicated to hair stuff, but whatever. Anyway, so today we will be going through and I'm sharing my journey with you all, and hopefully this will inspire somebody to take action and to advocate for themselves, because that is the biggest thing right now, is advocating for yourself, especially when it comes to the medical field and medical professionals. A lot of times, and I know women in particular feel steamrolled, feel gaslit, and that people just don't take the things that we have going on seriously, and more specifically, Black women, just because obviously history shows that we were experimented on, and people didn't believe that we felt pain, and we always have to have this strong persona going on, and so Black women are dying all the time of all types of stuff going on. Obviously, we know however many years ago when Serena Williams had that blood clot and her doctors weren't listening to her, so she went to somebody else and they caught it in time, but she could be dead right now because, lo and behold, she's a Black woman and motherfuckers don't want to listen. All right, so that's why we're here. Okay, so this may be a two-part video for the intro, but as I'm progressing, I'm going to be sharing videos on this whole journey, because we don't talk about it enough. I know that Lupita Nyong'o is going through her stuff right now, and sharing all the things about her fibroid journey, and just because celebrities are saying things does not mean that it should be taken as law, because there is still misinformation that's being given out there. So regardless of even what I'm saying, take things with a grain of salt, and do your own research and do what's best for you and for your body, okay, and whatever belief systems you have. So for me, I prefer to be more natural, more holistic. Even though I was a Spanish pre-med major in undergrad, I had planned to become a pediatric cardiovascular surgeon. But just going through the medical field, and I don't believe in prescribing medications to people. They make things worse. They're not necessarily helpful. They more so address symptoms versus the actual issue itself, and then it causes 1,000 other side effects that you wouldn't have had if you weren't taking the meds. So that's me. Our bodies are self-healing. They were created to be self-healing. We just gotten away from it because of how we eat and just all the chemicals, additives, all the things that are happening, especially specifically here in the U.S. But that's a whole other tangent for a different day, so we won't get into that. Back to the subject at hand. So, fibroids. How did we get here? So let me just define fibroids, okay? So I've got Google up, and I'm telling it to you real time so we can go through it together. So fibroids are known as uterine leiomyomas, non-cancerous growth, if I could speak, Lord, that develop in the uterus. They are most common benign tumors in women of childbearing age. Okay, so location, fibroids can grow in different parts of the uterus, including on the outer surface, within the muscle wall of the uterus, and inside the uterine cavity. Okay, exact causes of fibroids are unknown. They are thought to be influenced by hormones such as estrogen. Symptoms, many fibroids don't cause them, but if they do, they can include heavier prolonged menstrual bleeding, pelvic pain or pelvic pressure, frequent urination, pain during intercourse, and back pain. Okay, they're frequently diagnosed through a pelvic exam or imaging test, such as an ultrasound or MRI. Treatment options, depending on their size, symptoms, and the patient's desire for pregnancy. Observation, small asymptomatic fibroids may be monitored without treatment. Medications, such as GnRH, can shrink fibroids before surgery, and in surgery may be necessary to remove large or symptomatic fibroids, which can include a hysterectomy, surprise, surprise, removal of the uterus, or a myomectomy, removal of only the fibroids. Okay? So, all right, so cysts. Let's just go to ovarian cyst. Ovarian cysts. What are they? Okay. Ovarian cysts are fluid-filled sacs that form on or inside the ovaries. These are functional cysts are most common and usually form during the menstrual cycle. So they include follicular cyst, development in an egg follicle does not release an egg. Corpus luteum cyst, form after an egg is released and the follicle does not shrink. So they have cystadenomas, which are larger, non-functional cysts that can be filled with clear fluid, mucus, or blood. Endometriomas, these are cysts that contain tissue similar to the lining of the uterus. And then dermoid cysts. These are rare, and they contain hair, skin, and other body tissues. Causes, exact cause is unknown. However, they are more common in women of reproductive age and may be related to hormonal changes, ovulation, or pelvic infections. Many ovarian cysts do not have symptoms, but if they do, they can have pelvic pain or cramping, bloating, irregular periods, pain during intercourse, nausea, and vomiting. Okay? They're usually diagnosed during a pelvic exam or an ultrasound. Most ovarian cysts do not require treatment and will resolve on their own. However, if a cyst is causing symptoms or is large, treatment may be necessary. So observation, small asymptomatic cysts may be monitored with regular ultrasounds similar to fibroids. Medication, hormonal medications may be used to shrink some types of cysts. Surgery, larger cysts or cysts that do not respond to medication may need to be surgically removed. Okay, so how did I get here? Why are we discussing it today? So I've been having severe abdominal pains for the past 2 to 3 years. Honestly, I have no idea when it started. It's been happening so long at this point that I couldn't even pinpoint it for you and tell you. But stabbing pains in my abdomen, it'll switch sides at times. At one point in time, I feel like it was mostly my left side, then it kind of switched to mostly my right side. Just feels like little pins and needles stabbing. Sometimes it would be a little pulsing. And I have a period app that I keep track of everything in, okay? So I was like, well, maybe it's just synonymous with where I'm at in my cycle, but even if I wasn't ovulating, even if I wasn't on my cycle, I would be feeling these things, okay? When I was in college, they gave a diagnosis, and you'll notice that I am not claiming this shit, okay? As we're talking through, which you may think I'm Delulu in La La Land somewhere being delusional about it, But the things we say and speak do affect life. So you'll hear me say like the cyst or the fibroid. I'm not adding a possessive to any of this stuff. Or it's located on the uterus, you know what I'm saying? Of where they're seeing things. But anyway, so I used to have really bad chest pains, feeling like, you know, the wind was being knocked out of me, or just tight squeezing on my chest. Thought, you know, maybe had some heart things. Had an echocardiogram when I was like in middle school. Heart's always perfect looking. So in college, they just said maybe it's costochondritis, which is a rare inflammation of the abdominal cavity, chest cavity. So sometimes if I'm super stressed, I know that will flare up. And so I was thinking maybe these things are related because I've been in stress-inducing environments for the past 5 years at least. And a lot of that had to do with work. I worked at a very toxic startup. So yeah, this video is 11 minutes. Okay, so let me try to get a little more in. So again, abdominal pains, you know, they'd come and go. They'd be tolerable, but this spring, I want to say like maybe March or so, I thought I was having a heart attack. So I was having like severe chest pains on my left side. It started radiating to my left shoulder, and then abdominal pains were happening. And then I also have pelvic pains, which that's a little newer. So it kind of feels like the inside of my vag, like right on the edge near labia, however you want to say it. Kind of like a stabbing, but then a pulsating pain down like my left thigh, into my legs. And so I'm like, maybe because the job I had, I was sitting all the time, like maybe I pinched a nerve or something. And so like, you know, trying not to sit too long anymore. I will say I just started running over the last couple months, getting back into it because I used to run all the time. I did a million sports when I was younger. I will say that has subsided since I've been running. Okay, a lot of these things that I'm talking about now have gotten a little better since I started being more consistent in my active. But anyway, went to the ER because I was like, oh shoot, like what's going on? I don't want to die. They did an EKG, which came out fine. And then they did a chest x-ray, which it said lungs, heart, everything looks perfect. So I told the guy, well, like, what about the abdominal pains? What about the pelvic pains? Don't I need to get, I should get an MRI. Like, I feel like I need to get some other type of something. White man. And he was just like, oh no, I don't think you need any other imaging. Like, everything's come out fine. Your blood work looks good. So, you know, like, you're okay. Great. Thanks. So, I leave, but I will say I've noticed that a lot of doctors have started blaming stuff on stress. So now the stress is being recognized as something that like can cause physical symptoms, that now a lot of doctors since COVID have been saying that like, oh, maybe it's stress induced, or I don't want to downplay it, but you know, let's try to manage some stress, which could be a factor, but also, motherfucker, like, do your damn job. If I'm concerned, do an image. So leave there. I'm like, fuck it, I need to find a primary because I just moved back home not too long ago. So get a black primary, black woman. She's actually African. Meet her for the first time. She's amazing. We're talking through all the pains, all the things I've been dealing with, all the symptoms. So she's like, you know what, let's get you a CAT scan or CT scan, just to play it safe to see like what's going on. Okay, so we do the CT, and my other organs and stuff come back fine. So Cobb was kind of nervous, like, okay, is it appendix stuff? Is there something going on with the colon? Like, you know, it's abdominal pains. I don't want to have IBS or something. So she said all this stuff looked perfectly fine, but noticed that there was a cyst on the right side that was about 6 to 7 centimeters in diameter. And then there was a fibroid on top of the uterus that was about like 3.4 centimeters in diameter. And so she was like, let's get an ultrasound because CT scans aren't made specifically for this type of stuff and you can't really tell what's happening. So let's just get you an ultrasound in about 8 weeks to see if anything's changed or if it's gotten better on its own, and go from there. Great. So get my appointment booked. In between this time, I go see a gynecologist who's a Black woman. And she pulls up the medical information, sees about the cyst and the fibroid, and she's like, oh, you know, like, well, welcome to the majority, because, you know, 70+% of Black women, you know, are known to get fibroids or expected to get fibroids or it's common to have fibroids. And I was looking at her like, bitch, don't put me in a category like that, because nobody wants to be part of the majority. Like, it's not anything happy to be like, oh yeah, congrats, like, you're part of the, no, okay? I usually always take the road less traveled, okay? Minority in this situation. I don't want to be a fucking part of the majority. Like, don't say that shit like that. It's not cool. So she kind of pissed me off with that. But anyway, did my wellness exam. She said since my primary already ordered the ultrasound, just to have it sent to her so that she can look at it and go from there. So go to the ultrasound. Actually, let me pause here. I'll pause here, okay? So I can split it up into a second video because this one's already getting kind of long. But if you've experienced any of these things, feel free to comment below and like, subscribe, follow, share, because I do plan to drop videos weekly, especially as I'm going through this, and I would love to hear other people's experiences, if they think they may have something going on, if they have something going on, and things that you guys have been doing to address it, which I will share in my next video. So appreciate you, and love you guys. Be safe, and we'll see you in the next video.